Hey there, it's Ben from patternprofits.net bringing you the weekly watch list. Again, starting with IWO last week, did get a dip below that year-to-date anchored VWAP, but closed back above it. Not able to push through that pivot, so now putting in kind of a handle formation possibly here, back above the volume shelf and point of control. So we'll just have to see whether this makes some upside progress here early in the week to challenge this 315.98 level again, or do we end up rolling back over? We'll just have to see how it plays out. The reason I say that is we actually had some participation from the value side of the equation late last week, which we hadn't seen in quite a while. This had been a few weeks of straight down pretty much. And then to have both growth and value participate last week, you see why that anchored VWAP year to date is on all the charts now, served as support on Thursday, and then a nice bounce back to volume shelf point of control on Friday. What's interesting too, if you look at FFTY, the IBD 50, this was a triangle that we had pointed out. Got a downside break of that triangle, but quickly came back and now looks like it may test early in the week that ascending portion of that trend line. So again, just going to have to kind of watch and react to how this action plays out early in the week. I did not have a lot to guide me as far as focus list names. I did have some AXON, Axon Enterprise. I do like this setup, 179.30s, the pivot here, and could give, if we got a run to the prior high, 212.37, that would be a nice move there. Been following the 1020 cloud on the way up. It's put in a little handle formation sideways pattern here, and now 179.30 gets it out of there. So one to keep an eye on. Good fundamentals there too. Our old friend Roku, still watching this one as it has now formed that handle formation that we talked about. Not quite up to the prior highs, but just below. 462.99 pivot there, and then any upside progress above Friday's high starts to push it through this descending trend line. So certainly worth keeping an eye on there. I thought we may get a retest of this 397.69 a pivot, but that wasn't the case. Friday we saw strength. Didn't even tag the 20 before starting to turn back up. Celsius. A lot of the focus list names this week are the same names we've been watching, and they just happen to be dancing around those pivots that we watched previously. 70.66 pivot here, closed just above on Friday. You do have a descending trend line above. The gap down from the secondary, the anchored VWAP acting as support there late last week. You've got an inside day here to work with. Again, 70.66 the pivot. So we'll see if that area provides support and can push through the descending trend line there. I think risk can easily be managed here. Like I said, using that anchored VWAP. I also have Chewy, kind of an inverse head and shoulders look to this one. What's interesting is right up against year-to-date anchored VWAP. Was able to push through anchored VWAP from off the high back above the volume shelf point of control here too. See if I zoom out a little bit more, you can see that a little bit better. So now that we're through there, the last really leg to see this kind of push through back towards these prior highs up around 120 would be to clear that year-to-date anchored VWAP is kind of declining still, so probably the safest entry to see it come through and clear, retest, and then turn back up. Lastly, from the focus list, I have AMD. This is one that we've talked about before, double bottom pattern. 89.20, the pivot, it reclaimed that late last week, pushed back above. What I want to see is if it can make progress from here. You can use that 89.20 double bottom pivot level to bench your risk against. Moving over to the peg list, I have RH, still watching for this to clear that pivot. It gave it a shot, but wasn't able to completely close through that 719.77 pivot. So we'll be watching that level again. Not an inside day here, but it is inside of both Wednesday and Thursday. So if that can come out to the upside, maybe gives this 719.77 pivot another try. Then you have 733.05 above that. I do like the volume pattern here. And of course, we have the power earnings gap here. That's really all I have. I'll share any additional setups that may come up over on FinTwit during the week. Hope you guys have a great trading week, and I will see you over on FinTwit.